And welcome, everyone. I'm Gary Gonzo, and this is RaceVerse coverage of Round 10 of Season 2 of 2022 of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series, coming to you from Virginia International Raceway for the Virginia is for Kidney Warriors Grand Prix. Joining me for expert analysis in the booth, he's my partner from the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split coverage from the NHR Esports team and the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by Butt Kicker. Please welcome Stephen Larkamp. Steven, IndyCar has never raced here in real life, but we have been here before, part of the stretch run a couple seasons ago, and it turned out to be a pretty good race. What can we go looking for today as for the second time the Formula Indy Series comes to VIR?
Well, of course, VIR, as you said before, they're certainly a stranger to IndyCar in real life, but this track is no stranger to good racing. It's a challenging track to be certain. A lot of corners here are very treacherous in some areas. The curbs are ruthless. The track is very fast and flowing as well. That makes it a lot of fun to drive. I know a lot of people either love or hate this place. And those that love it, they love it for how it drives. And the racing here can be really good. We've seen it in sports car racing before. And I definitely think that we can have a very good one with open wheelers here tonight. I personally wish they came here, really.
Currently at the top of the chart is Gavin Sanders, provisionally at the 129.054. Welker right next to him with the 033, now a 165 deficit, excuse me. But Welker's going to be starting from the pits.
Yeah, apparently the officials were giving him the blame for that lap 1 incident last time out at Road Atlanta, which I have my own opinions on that one. I'm personally thinking that it's the crime doesn't justify the punishment. It's not even the right person to blame, I don't think. But Mitch Welker, regardless, he is going to have to start from the back, even though he is qualifying second at the moment. And that position in particular is going to be very important for Mitch Welker here tonight. If he can work his way up through the field and get up to at least second place, he is going to officially lock up the championship here tonight. It's just him versus Nick Johnston for the title. And Welker is guaranteed the title if he finishes first or second here tonight. He's going to have a lot of work to do from the back. But he finished third at Spa-Francorchamps from pretty much dead last as well, starting from pit lane. So I do not consider it out of the question.
No. You know, it almost seemed like it was just a minor inconvenience starting from the pit for him at Spa, where he just kind of drove right back up to the front and got himself back on the podium. 5:58 remaining here in qualifying here at Virginia. What else are we seeing out there?
Seeing Caleb Bensi now up to P3. And one thing that's really a telling sign of this track being a challenge for the drivers is I'm looking at the spread of the lap times. The top times are in the low 1:29s, and of drivers in the 1:29s all throughout that range, only the top 7, Gavin Sanders, Mitch Welker, Caleb Bensi, Christopher Hill, Matthew Short, Danilo Piazza, and Doriano Ricciuti, the top 7 are the only drivers in the 1:29s, and that is indicative of a track that is difficult to get right. But when you do get it right, you know it. And the lap times are fairly spread out here, but at the same time, I think that raw pace may not be the biggest determining factor here. More than anything, it'll be trying to minimize errors.
So tonight we're looking at definitely a one stopper, of course, but there might be a question of a second stop. We shall see. There might be some fuel economy going on here, and somebody might be able to make this race in one last stop. About 4 minutes remaining before we get to the starting lineup. So, Steven, probably would not surprise you at all that even though our numbers are getting better, that 46% of the people right now are not subscribers. And
that is a
no. So what we need right now from you is you need to help us all on our drive, all of the viewers out there on our drive to 1,000 subscribers. If you enjoy RaceVerse coverage of the Formula Indy Series, respect the stream, please do us a solid and make sure you support us by subscribing. We have less than 50, actually now 48 subscribers to go to get to the magical 1,000 mark. So please help us by hitting that subscribe button right now. We can't get there without you. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future RaceVerse iRacing broadcasts. And we're going to have a lot of them this week, but not all of them are going to be on RaceVerse, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. So now let's get into it in Virginia. The only two starting from the pits is going to be Simon Sykes and Mitch Welker from last week. I don't think Sykes is in the lineup, so I don't think he'll be starting. So it might only be one car starting from the lineup, which is just another advantage for Mitch Welker, as he's going to have himself pretty much a clean racetrack and starting until he starts encountering the back markers.
Indeed, it'll give him the chance to run some very solid lap times and catch up to the back of the field, but that's in an ideal scenario in of itself for Mitch Welker, I would think, because this track can have its fair share of drama to it, and if Mitch Welker has to avoid that, it's going to slow him up that tiny bit more. So there's a lot of X factors to consider when you're starting from the pits, but of course, Welker and his crew, they are well known for doing their homework on all sorts of possibilities. So I think Welker can overcome this. This is going to be a heck of a drive to do, but we've seen it before and we'll probably see it again.
2 minutes, 38 seconds left here. Top 5, Gavin Sanders, Mitch Welker, Caleb Bensie, Christopher Hill, Matthew Short as your top 5 at the moment.
Sanders just got a 28.9, the first driver to break into the 1 minute 28s for Gavin Sanders. Fantastically done. Yeah,
he did. This was a race that he had circled on the championship calendar. I believe this was season 2. I go back and look in our history. FIS, go back on here and let's see, season 2. And I can't remember because it all runs together. Might have been season 3, but he had this circled on his calendar because this is this is one of the ones that he really wanted to do well at, and feels very comfortable here as a matter of fact. So this is why he's always up on the wheel to get to VIR.
Yeah, and having this track circled off means that you definitely have a good experience with this place. This track can be hit or miss for some drivers, but there's no doubt it is a challenge, and it can be a fun challenge, and Gavin Sanders is relishing it right now. And looking at VIR itself, of course, Indy cars have never actually raced here before. But to give you an idea of how fast these guys are running, the pole position right now for Gavin Sanders is a 128.976. The overall the lap record here at VIR was set by Lucas Luhr in an HPD ARX-03A LMP1 car. This was in 2012 when the American Le Mans Series raced here, and doesn't that name take you back? Both that and Lucas Luhr, if I'm being honest. But the lap time was a 1 minute 36.112. They are over 7 seconds a lap faster than the lap record here.
Nicholas Johnson actually was the winner the last time we came here, so this is going to play into possibly his hands in keeping this championship at least closer. One more week going to, or at least one more race going to Daytona.
Indeed, it's going to be a bit of an advantage there for Johnston on 2 counts there, but of course a lot can happen over the course of 38 laps. As seeing Nate Siefker recovering from some connection issues, but he's going to be good to go right now. So warm up is about to begin. Qualifying is over. Gavin Sanders on the pole.
All right, let's clear off the screen here and take a look at today's starting lineup. Go right ahead.
And on the pole, as I was listening to race control right there, we're talking about the driver starting from pit lane. But Gavin Sanders on pole position, the only driver in the 1 minute 28. It's a great qualifying time. Mitch Welker would be alongside him, of course, but of course, as we all know, he has to start from pit road, serving a penalty. Row 2 will be Caleb Bensie in the 21. Alongside him, Christopher Hill in the 101. That's some very good performances here throughout the season. Let's see if he can make it even better. Matthew Short, he will start in 5th. And alongside him, Bruno Miranda, the number 18 machine. Matthew Short in the 35. Principal Dan, Danilo Piazza. He will start his 56 machine in 7th. And alongside him, Doriano Ricciuti in 8th in the number 14. Nick Johnston, the winner last season here at VIR, he will start 9th. A lot of work for him to do. But alongside him, Michael DeTurk in the number 40. Nate Siefker will be starting 11th, a bit of a rough qualifying for the former series champion. Alongside him will be Jeff Groff in the 25. AJ Digby will start 13th. Alongside him, Frankie Franchicia in the 96. AJ Digby, of course, in the 81. Christian Jaspers, number 44, will start 15th. Alongside him, the 82 of Dakota DeMade in 16th. Logan Spath will start 17th in the number 3. Alongside him, JJ Wang in the 61. Matt Houston will start 19th in the 66, and rounding out the top 20 will be the Fish car. That's Cody Claiborne in the 31. Jake Katz in the 117 will start 21st. Alongside him, Sahaj Padhayar in the 72. Victor Aldrich in the 98 and Drew White in the 15. They make up row 12. And the final one on the grid, Joshua Tucker, did not post a qualifying time. He will start 25th and last on the field. But of course, they'll all be moved up a spot, at least up to 3rd place, as Mitch Welker will be starting from pit road. Gavin Sanders actually just looped it coming and going through his warm-ups there. Trying out the hard compound tire, but as everybody runs through their warm-ups right now, and the thing that's interesting to me right now is of course with Mitch Welker starting in the back, but only 25 cars signed up here tonight. As we've seen larger grids before, but VIR, I will admit, it's not exactly a track that everyone is entirely familiar with, and it may not be the most popular for some.
All right.
As everybody's... Oh, is some very close stuff there I saw behind Mitch Welker going through the fast right-hander coming out of those uphill S's. It's so easy to get a wheel off there, and that's going to be key to this race. Keep the car on the black stuff tonight. It's actually a lot trickier than looking at it from the externals. This track is very, very tricky to get right. Just under a minute left in warm-up. Also, if you're there, Gary, I'm not hearing you right now.
I'm right here. I'm just handling cameras and director stuff.
I gotcha. But 30 seconds to go here. And we're going to wait for 38 laps to get started at VIR. Of course, we're going to have a standing start here, as we always do. And that should be very interesting indeed. If last time out at Road Atlanta was any indicator, VIR can also have some very hectic starts to it.
And we're getting ready to grid up.
Checkered flag is out. Waiting on everyone to get to the grid, but 38 laps of VIR about to get underway. And slowly but surely, everybody getting themselves onto the grid. Gavin Sanders. Sanders starting on the hard compound tire here tonight. And looking at the rest of the runners, I see Matthew Short on reds. I see Christopher Hill on blacks. Quite the diverse tire selection so far. We'll see which one works the best. Good number of them on blacks so far. Nick Johnston on reds. Michael DeTurk on reds. Everybody now, except of course for Mitch Welker, getting themselves onto the grid. Sanders all by himself there as the seconds tick down. Getting ready for a race here in the hills of Southern Virginia. Lights coming on, revs coming up. And we're underway at VIR. Good start by Mitch Welker. Caleb Bensey slow to get going. Christopher Hill gets a great launch up to P2. And now Matthew Short challenging Christopher Hill for third as they head into turn one. And Hill had a look to the outside there. Oh, contact there! 3 cars around at least. Principal Dan, Piazza's around. Multiple cars trying to avoid them, but chaos already on the first lap. And Matthew Short, I believe, was also one of them. He has gotten himself back underway. Chaos here for some of the front runners, and Principal Dan is already out of the race. But Gavin Sanders leads the way, heading up the hill. Christopher Hill following behind him, fittingly enough. Caleb Bensey still sticking around in P3 as they head up through the S's. One of the most fun parts of this track, very famous section of racetrack here as they head back down through the hill. Up to Oak Tree Corner. And here in iRacing, the Oak Tree is still here, where sadly in the real world it is gone. But look at the start by Nick Johnston from 8th on the grid, already up to 3rd. Beautiful start by the 28.
Yeah, but Mitch Welker already up to 13th, and there he is, stalking the backside, the rear attenuator there of Logan Spath down the straightaway. He's to the inside.
Fantastic start. This is exactly what Mitch Welker needed. A bit of chaos that he wasn't involved in as he's side by side as, oh, there's a contact up there. One of the cars off. That's Bruno Miranda. Miranda off in the grass, trying to gather back up. Another car off as well. Jeff Groff is off. And Jeff Groff was off before. That's Ricciuti. Ricciuti is off in the final corner. He is in the wall as well. Piazza's teammate seems to be out of the running.
The old dogs are done. The old dogs are done, and Mitch Welker already up to P10 at the end of lap 1.
Look at this start by Mitch Welker from 25th to 10th in one lap. That is a testament to what Mitch Welker is capable of. This championship battle can very well be decided tonight if he keeps up this pace. But he's hounding all over the rear end of the 66 of Matt Houston as they head through this fast series of sweepers. Oh, car in front of him in trouble. That's JJ Wang in trouble. Wang is around in the wall. Wang gathering it up slowly under the Volkswagen bridge. But as they head up through the S's, JJ's trying to nurse a wounded car as there's already some cars behind them. They don't like this idea of a slow car in front of them. As I'm seeing Mitch Welker now. Again, all over the back of Matt Houston meanwhile. A little bit of a twitch there from Michael DeTurk behind him as they head down the back straightaway. And Welker now looks to the inside for this left-hand kink. It'll be the outside for the right-hander that follows. Will he get it clear in time? Houston's squeamish a bit under brakes, but Welker does get the job done. Next up on the checklist will be Dakota DeMade in the 82. Oh, and already another one off. That's AJ Digby in the 81. Right in front of both DeMade and Welker. He gathers it up, though. No damage done, it would seem, but a lot of track position lost for the 81 machine. But Mitch Welker from 25th to 6th in 2 laps. What a start by Mitch Welker. And Nick Johnston, meanwhile, speaking of nice moves, he has moved himself up to P2 already. He's gotten around Christopher Hill. Hill seems to have had a problem on that last lap. Lost a ton of time in positions, and he's lost a lot of ground to Nate Siefker and Caleb Bensey ahead, but now moved Nick Johnston from 9th on the grid up to 2nd. Another fantastic start by the only other championship contender at this point.
Yeah, it's looking like this is kind of how it started when we came here a couple of seasons ago. We're kind of in opposite order. Johnston was the leader, and Gavin Sanders was the guy who finished second. But actually, as that race went on, Gavin had a pretty big lead, and he lost it in the cycle for pit stops.
Hopefully that mistake will not be repeated this time for him. As Gavin Sanders now holds, last time at the line it was a 2.8 second lead over Nick Johnston. But as he comes to complete lap 3, let's see what he can get here. Of course, Sanders started this race on the hard compound tire. Johnston is a little bit quicker right now, but Johnston started on the reds. So Johnston will be quicker in these early stages, but the tires will fall off a lot quicker compared to the hard compound black tire that Sanders is on.
So, well, when they visited here, it was part of their Season 2 2021 schedule. So this was visited during the calendar year 2021 last time here. And actually, it was right about this time of the year as well. It was in November when they came here.
So, in its kind of traditional fall date, is Bensi under pressure now from Nate Siefker. Siefker's also had a fantastic start. Started 11th. He's now running P4. And Siefker, like Bensi in front of him. Oh, Sanders is off! Sanders is in the wall! Front wing is gone on the number 10. Gavin Sanders with an error just overshoots Oak Tree Corner, and that is taking him out of the race lead. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's shaking that car down. He might have some suspension issues there.
Oh, some locked up brakes there, but all this moves Nick Johnston to the race lead. Exactly what he wanted right now. Probably not the way he expected to get it, but Johnston moving himself up to the point, and I'm looking at Caleb Bensi behind him. And the lap time difference here, like Johnston was a bit quicker last time by than Bensi was, but it's not by much. I can see Bensi having better pace. The winner last time out at Road Atlanta looking very strong so far. As Gavin Sanders trying to nurse that wounded car around the track. From what I'm seeing on the visual, the left side of his front wing is completely gone. But Sanders still doggedly limping that car around, and look who's coming up behind him, moved up to P5. It's Mitch Welker. Welker from 25th to 5th, 20 spots gained for the championship leader. Unbelievable. And as everyone working their way down the back straightaway, the three leaders are within about 2 and a bit seconds of each other. Johnston, Bensi, and Siefker. Gavin Sanders still hanging on for dear life in that car. I'm sure that thing is not handling the way he wants it at all. As you can see right there, a lockup on the right front tire for Gavin Sanders. But down the hill we go once more. And Sanders, it looks like, yes, he's coming into the pits. Get that front wing changed. But that moves Mitch Welker up to P4 and closing in front. And looks like he's going to be closing the gap on the leaders right now. Is Bensi's off. Now Caleb Bensi goes off in turn 1. A lot of errors happening so far, but
unforced errors, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of errors we're seeing tonight, but VIR, I know, is a tough track, and some drivers have a love-hate relationship with it. But this track really seems to be catching a lot of people out tonight. And moved Nate Siefker now up to P2. And Johnston has got a big gap behind to Bensi behind him. I think Bensi may have been slowed up to Siefker, I should say. Siefker was well in arrears of Bensi. He didn't exactly get held up. The gap between them was just that big. With now Bensi out of the picture right now, it just seems a lot bigger than and the gap seemed a lot smaller than it actually was.
Yeah, gotcha. If you're just joining us, you missed a lot, but it's still early in the race. We're at lap 6. If you're just joining us, this is RaceVerse coverage of the Formula Indy Series coming to you from VIR. We've completed just 6 of scheduled. What do we got? 38 tonight. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications. Got a pretty good audience going right now as we are watching a race that has now championship implications. As closing this championship out with 2 races to go, if Mitch Welker can drive himself up to second place.
And he's right now on the gearbox of Caleb Bensi to get up to third place right now. And he's turning faster lap times than our leader, Nick Johnston, right now, at least if last laps are any indicator. But Welker definitely on the charge, and he is all over the gearbox of the 21. This was the situation last time out at Road Atlanta, but that time it was for the lead. But Welker looking like the stronger car right now over the 21 of Bensi.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the tire compound yet, but Nick Johnson is the only one on the alts at the moment of these leaders. Everyone from second, third, fourth, back to fifth are on the primes. Then we got 2 more alts with the Turk and Short. And then the remainder of the tire choices is kind of scattered amongst the rest of the field, but the top 5 has definitely chosen to go with the primes, except our leader, Nick Johnson, who decided to go with the alts.
Yeah, and Johnson, of course, started in 9th place, now running up in the race lead. So Johnston probably expected to gain some spots just by having soft tires on early on in the going, but I'm sure he didn't expect it to be this much, but I'm sure he loves it nonetheless.
So we got Johnson up 8 spots, Seifker up 9. The biggest gainers are a little bit further back. Jake Katz there in P9. We got him on the camera here up 12. There he is. And Joshua Tucker, there he is, up 13 to P12. So Katz to 9th, Joshua Tucker to 12th. The biggest loser at the moment right now is Gavin Sanders. He's down 13 spots. Now, Mitch Welker would be normally counted as part of the big gainers because he started from the pits, but this league allows you to qualify even though you have to start from the pits, so you get well, at least you're qualifying and trying to improve your pit stall, right? And so instead of being one of the last pit stalls, he's one of the first ones, and that's going to help him here when he has his first pit stop here not too long from now. And he is only up, actually the statistics here are only showing him down 2 spots from where he started, but we know that is quite the opposite. Both Bensi and Welker on push to pass at the moment as they are drag racing each other going into turn 14.
Welker had a peek there, looking to the inside of that left-hand kink before the downhill right-hander, now the left. Heading to the final sequence of corners. And Welker really amping up the pressure on Caleb Bensi right now. Welker, as you said before, only showing him down two spots, but he has gained 21 in actuality from where he started, which was on pit road. He has a peak once more into turn 1. Not quite enough to get up alongside the 21 machine. And that's one of the best overtaking opportunities on this track. Not going to happen this time, but we'll see where else he can make it work.
Getting on those bumps, on those curves, bouncing that car around.
Yeah, those bumps here and the curbing especially are absolutely brutal. The way these curbs are, they're more suited for sports car racing. A stiffer open wheel car, not exactly liking these curbs very much. And just the awkward nature of how they're made, they can send a car around in a heartbeat if you're not careful. They're very much unlike a lot of other curbs you see at a lot of other racetracks, and that is one of the big wild cards here at VIR, and it's probably the cause of some of the errors we've seen tonight already.
Well, we got some time. We're about halfway through this current stint. Let's go through the field real quick. Nick Johnson is your leader. He has himself a 1.5 second lead as those red tires now are starting to go off. And he is coming to the pits. He says he's had enough. So I called the pit stops here a little bit early as he's had enough with those reds. He's going to turn the lead over to Nate Seifert. And right behind him is still this duo battling between Caleb Bensi and Mitch Welker.
Johnston bringing it down on the pit road and changing onto hard compound tires. Once again, the graphical glitch trying to throw you off there for a second, but it's not fooling me. He is indeed on the hard compound Firestones, and he is down and away in towards the back of the top 10. He's come out just behind Jeff Groff, so he is now running in 11th place.
All right, as we continue down through the remainder of the top 10. Here you see the top three, Seifert, Binsey, and Welker. Christopher Hill is in P4, pretty much by himself, has a good buffer between himself and the car behind him. Michael DeTurk in the plain white wrapper. He has worked his way up to 5th. He's up 5 spots. Matthew Short, he's only down 1. He had that off early on, but he's recovered pretty well. He is still in the top 10 in 6th. Jake Katz, talked about him, up 14 spots, now up to 7th. Jeff Groff right behind him. This is a battle for position. Actually, a really tight battle for position between all these cars, especially where Nick Johnson is. Let's watch this real quick. We got Groff, Franchica, Johnston, Bruno Miranda. All these guys are for position back here.
Just seeing Mitch Welker actually got by Caleb Bensey coming down the back straightaway this time by, so move Welker up to P2 on the circuit right now. But this battle right here, having the former leader, Nick Johnston, fighting his way through as he looks to the inside. Oh, very close stuff. As Matthew Short now coming on the pit road as well. But he gets around, the lap, around the traffic here, trying to work his way through it all. That was Jeff Groff he got by in the 25 machine. But Johnston now, next one on this list is Jake Katz. And of course, everyone in front of him has yet to pit. The majority of them, though, are running on the hard compound tire, so these guys are definitely going to be running them down to the point where their tanks are empty and then come in for their stops. And of course, looking to me like it'll be a 2-stop race from here on out, as Nate Seifker, I just saw, got way up on that curb there. Kind of an awkward curb mount. But he keeps it going, still in the race lead. As look at Johnston now all over the back of Jake Katz, going through the S's. Setting up a run there. Katz was slow coming out of Oak Tree Corner, and down the backstretch he goes. I think Katz just let him go there. And Nick Johnston now back up to P6. And now we'll see when the others make their moves.
Back up front.
So it's Nate Seifker over Mitch Welker now up to P2. Welker definitely on the charge. Welker about 0.3 of a second faster than Seifker last time by. Caleb Bensey still holding on in P3 right now. Fairly even times with Seifker well ahead of him. But Welker doing everything he needs to do to lock up this championship here and now. This is exactly the position he needs to be in at the end of this race. Of course, we got to factor in Nick Johnston as well. Johnston's the first of our runners to actually come in for a pit stop. Down the backstretch they go once more. Seifker still got himself a bit of a comfortable gap right now as they head down through the roller coaster, they call it. And it feels like one too when you're driving down through here. Speaking from personal experience, a very, very fun section of racetrack. Caleb Bensey following right at the back of the train right now for this top three. All three of them within 1.1 seconds of each other. Very close racing here tonight at VIR. And I think I saw a little bit of a lockup there from Nate Seifker as they headed into turn one. We got a lap car up ahead right now. That's AJ Digby in the 81. They got to negotiate with pretty soon.
Digby back in 19th. We got 19 cars on the lead lap, so this is the end of the lead lap here where Digby is. Pat Ahar and Drew White currently showing a lap down in 20th and 21st. We had 25 cars start. We're down to just 22 running, or 21 running. Matt Houston actually showing out. A rare DNF for Matt. Cody Claiborne in the Fish car is also shown out. So the attrition has quieted down some. but we are still showing some long-term drivers of the series having some issues here early on here at VIR. Again, looking at pit stops here momentarily. All three of the leaders are together. We'll get back on them.
Let's look at Welker. Oh, he actually checked up there. He had to check up there, came very, very close. I think something must have happened to Welker, but Bensy now all over the back of Welker now. He looks to the outside now going into turn 1. Side by side, can Welker hold on to it? Bit of a lockup. Yes, he does hang on to the position. But Bensy smells blood in the water right now. He is on the attack. He wants to get back by him. And now the leader, Nate Siefker, catching up to AJ Digby right now. Through the sweepers. Heading up towards the famous S's. Not the place where you want to catch a lap car here, but Siefker has indeed done that. And up through Oak Tree. Will Digby move out of the way for the 3 leaders? Digby moves to the side. Siefker lets him go. Lets Welker go. Lets Bensy go. So, and after all that, the battle has again been rejoined. Welker is caught up again really quick. A lock up there by Nate Siefker. Through the roller coaster once more.
Around the lap traffic. Let the leaders on by very nicely. Those guys will remember that.
Yep, very nicely done there for Digby, letting them go. Welker now right up on the gearbox. You don't need me to tell you the gap right now is Siefker locks up there once more. That seems to be a common thing we're seeing here.
Yeah, he's under acceleration. Back end brakes loose on him. When are these guys going to pit? Oh, he's breaking loose again. I don't know if he hit the curb. Again.
So easy to do that, Siefker.
I don't think really Welker's pushing the issue. I think he's just showing him the nose and making sure the nose is there, and maybe let Siefker make up his own mistake, which is really literally happened to every single car in front of Mitch Welker today.
Pretty much has happened to every car in front of Mitch Welker. They've all made an error of some sort. A lot of them have anyway. But Nate Siefker looking to hold off the position. Welker a bit twitchy there.
That time through Oak Tree. Yeah, that time through Oak Tree. Welker was a little bouncy. Welker on push to pass. He wants it now.
So easy to make that error, but Welker recovers from it brilliantly. He looks to the inside now for the sweeper. He'll be on the outside for the right-hander. Doesn't matter to him. Mitch Welker back up to the race lead. And meanwhile, Nick Johnston has gotten around Christopher Hill to move himself back up to P4, but Mitch Welker is in the lead of this race.
Seifert's pitting. He said, I've had enough of these tires. And hopefully in speed, he locked his brakes up as he came into the cone area there. Now he's going to hit his stall. It's going to be right behind that timing and scoring stand there. Back up front, Mitch Welker is now the leader from dead last to running point. And now, if this race were to finish right now, he wins the championship, and we still have 2 races to go.
Amazing season by Mitch Welker, and amazing race so far, just to put a cap on the whole thing, if he can indeed do it. And he's been turning very fast lap times on these hard compound tires. We'll see how long he wants to keep going on them. But as we saw with Siefker, it seems to be something of a consideration, especially for him. He was having some issues, especially was Nate Siefker. So that may be one of his considerations, and we're definitely within the window for a 2-stop race right now. So I would imagine that now was as good a time as any for Nate Siefker to change tires. And he's stuck with the blacks, I should note. He's stuck with the hard compound,
so that means he's going to go one more stop.
At the end of the race.
He's going to go light and soft there at the end. Going to go for that Red Bull lap. We are now watching the top 2. They're a second apart. Here comes Welker in Here comes Caleb in. So these guys are now committing to the two-stop strategy. Now, we've seen Hill manage to work. Well, he's pitting now. I said we've seen Hill manage to do the one-stop strategy before in a race, and he is going to hit pit road. So I don't think anyone's going to be able to do the one-stop strategy now. Two stops for everybody. And here comes Nick Johnston down the main straight all by himself.
Yeah,
and he picks back up the lead.
The main difference I would see between the time when Hill tried a one-stopper at the Nürburgring's a lot easier to save fuel on. VIR is not necessarily a track with a lot of areas where you can lift and coast, and a lot of areas where you can possibly save fuel that bit more to make as much of a difference. And even here, the main thing is that with 17 laps completed, seeming to be the far as they could go, they would need to do 19 laps to come in and make it a one-stop. So 3 extra laps per stint. I'm not sure if the pace loss from that would have been worth it. Christopher Hill once again back out on track. And we'll see where everyone cycles out, but Nick Johnston moves himself back up to the point. Mitch Welker now up to P2. Siefker in third, Bensi in fourth. And Gavin Sanders recovering from that early off. He's put on the soft compound tire now, and he's currently scored in P6 right now.
Yep, there he is. I actually got him in fifth at the moment.
Yeah, he's fifth on the circuit right now.
Yep.
Yeah, on my screen is still showing Johnston in fourth, but of course he just came in. But Gavin Sanders recovering very well so far from that off right now. I'm sure it's still dejection for him right now, but he can still get a good result out of this, especially since he is only 4.5 seconds behind race leader Nick Johnston.
All right, let's go do a reset now, since all of the pit stops have actually gone through, including Gavin Sanders, had to stop early with that wing damage. He's going to be stopping here again, probably for his final stop. I don't know, maybe he stopped too early. I don't know if he's on a 3-stopper now because of stopping too early on the first one. Showing him 12 laps under his current stint. He might be able to do it with one more stop. But anyways, Nick Johnston is our leader. There he is. Johnston has the point through the pit stops. He is being hounded by Mitch Welker. If Mitch Welker finishes here, Welker will win the series championship for this season for the FIS. In third is Seifert, under attack from Caleb Bensi. In fourth, Bensi on push to pass. Let's watch this battle.
Bensi having a look. Once again, he's going to be on the outside for the sweeper, on the inside for the sweeper, the outside for the right-hander. And he clears him well before even the sweeper itself. Move Bensi back up to P3. Down to the roller coaster. And into the hog pen. The final corner. Fast downhill right-hander.
Love these names.
Yeah. You gotta love names, corner names on a lot of older racetracks like VIR. There's even one corner on. It's not on the layout that we're running tonight, but and it's on the long version of this track with basically the infield, I guess you could say. And pardon my French on this one. It's called the bitch.
Is that the corner that the NASCAR Cup drivers, that when they came here, were testing on having trouble with? That's where it got the name.
That might be. It might be where they got it from. I guess we'll say they named it after a female dog. So.
Okay, all right. Well, Seifert is currently in fourth. Here is Gavin Sanders all by himself by a pretty good margin in front and behind in fifth. Michael DeTurk in the plain white wrapper. He is currently in sixth, and he has himself a pretty good margin in front and behind. I should take that back. Matthew Short right there. Matthew Short for seventh is hounding him a little bit. Christopher Hill, he has rejoined the battle after making pit stops. He is back in eighth, so here
comes Welker. Welker going to the inside now on Johnson. Johnson almost squeezed him into the grass, but Welker moves back up to the point again. This is going to be major championship implications, even more so. Welker to the race lead once more.
There you go.
And it looks like this time he is going to hold on to it. is not going to just be through pit stops this time.
Yeah, it looks like
Mitch
Johnson
Welker from last to first.
It looks like Johnson could have. He had nothing to lose there. He could have fought a lot harder and actually even risked contact on that one. And he raced him very cleanly right there. So bravo to those guys. And right now, Johnston loses a little bit of the momentum, and that's opening the door for Caleb Bency, who is now on the tail end of this battle. Going a little bit more through the top 10, Dakota DeMade has cracked into the top 10. He is up to 9th, and Frankie Franchica is currently holding down the 10th spot in the top 10. 17 cars are running, 17 cars on the lead lap, 25 started the race, and we have another pit stop to go here. Before we can start thinking about maybe calling it a championship for Mitch Welker with 2 races to go.
And man, what a race to win the championship if he can indeed do it here tonight for Mitch Welker. But once again, Johnston now falling back into the clutches of Caleb Bency for P2, as if Johnston didn't have enough to worry about with him losing out to Welker to lead the race. Now he would lose even more ground if Bency gets back up on him. Bency locks up a little bit. That's something we've seen a fair bit of tonight. Of course, Indy cars, in keeping with really any true race car, these cars do not have anti-lock brakes. It's all based on the driver's foot, what their inputs are to get the braking they need.
And they are extremely stiffly sprung, too.
Oh, yes, they are. And on a track like VIR, especially with the curving they've got here, with a stiff suspension, hitting that curve the wrong way can be a death sentence if you get it wrong. And that's what makes VIR such a challenge in open wheelers. If I'm being completely fair, though, it makes it a challenge in a lot of cars. And some would even draw comparisons driving-wise to... Some even compare this track to the Nürburgring in terms of how difficult it was. And for many ways... And a long time ago, way back in the ancient times of the iRacing service, there was a time where VIR was considered the closest you would ever get to having the Nürburgring in iRacing. Oh, how the times have changed.
Here through Oak Tree. Oak Tree is no longer there. That has been removed. Probably a good thing.
Yeah. Sadly, sort of an iconic feature of the course. But sadly, that tree collapsed, actually, after a major storm hit VIR, and it was just better for everyone involved that they got rid of it rather than keep it up there. But here in the iRacing service, much like with Auto Club Speedway, we were talking about last night, how Auto Club Speedway is going to be needlessly butchered, my opinion. It's going to be the old version of Auto Club will live on forever in the virtual world, and that is something happy to see.
Yeah, if they ever get around to rescanning the place, there'll be a Oak Tree version and a non-Oak Tree version.
Yeah. Maybe they will someday. I
don't know. I don't really hear the call to rescan VIR on the heads of many people in iRacing, no.
No, it's not exactly up there. I think it's largely because the track itself hasn't really changed that much since this track was first scanned in the late 2000s and the early 2010s. So this track is... It stays the classic, but for good reasons, because the classic is still there IRL, and hey, why not keep with the authentic nature?
Well, Nate Seifert suffered with those tires and had to stop early, and it's cost him. He is now back in 4th, well behind this battle for the top 3, and he just locks up his brakes big time going into Oak Tree. Almost had it off there.
Almost did what Gavin Sanders did early on in the race, did Nate Seifert. That double apex complex right there at Oak Tree, that is so easy to lock up the brakes there. It's so hard to get down properly. And if you do get it wrong, you know it almost immediately.
Back up, and let's see where we got other battles on the racetrack at the moment. There's not a lot of close battles right now. Let's go back to P10. Bruno Miranda has worked his way up into the top 10. He had an off and is now recovering and kind of patented Bruno style there. The Storm tends to have an issue early on, sometimes by his own fault, sometimes by his not of his own fault. And then he just kind of drives himself back up to the front, recovering. Oh, and that is Dakota Made. Yeah, he's going some cross country there. Behind
goes around the Marshall's gazebo there. But and now he brings
coming into the pits.
He's
coming into the pits, so that's going to cost him probably a top 10 right there. But anyways, back up to the front here. We got a battle between Francesca, Bruno Miranda, and Jake Katz. Jake Katz up 10 spots. Remember, he's one of our big gainers, and apparently, even though maybe qualifying pace here at VIR, it does not suit his style. The race pace here definitely suits his style, as he has very safely worked his way up to just outside the top 10 once again.
Very good run by Jake Katz so far. Really just keeping it nice and tidy, like you were saying. And that really is the key to a lot of racing here at VIR. It's minimizing errors, because making an error usually means a trip into the grass. Yep. And of course, the grass usually is lava. And look at the lockups there from both Francesca and Miranda, trying to gather themselves up and avoid going into the grass, and the grass that is also lava.
This is a very narrow race course. And let's go ahead and if we're going to stick with this battle, let's do a ride along with Miranda as when he gets to the start-finish line, as he starts to run down Francesca. Francesca wide on exit, and that's going to open up to attack. We'll go to the in-car now and take a look, watch this battle.
Down to the final corner they go. Miranda down the front stretch. I'm sure he smells a bit of blood in the water from the pressure he's putting on Francesca. Down the front straightaway into turn one. First gear corner, and he's
locks it up. Ooh, Francesca gets the back end. Kind of squirrely there.
Through NASCAR corner, they call it. No, really, that's what it's called. To the left-hander, then the right to this little chicane. Then up on the first set of S's. Fifth gear, 170 miles an hour, going through the more famous S's. 175 up on the curve.
Car skip.
Amazingly fast section of track, kind of Spa-Francorchamps in a way. Down the hill they go. Onto the brakes. Got to be careful of a lockup here at Oak Tree.
Kind of reminds me of Olton Park a little bit as well, with these long straights into that hairpin at the end.
Yeah, I can see that too. Also kind of has a similar feel to it.
Yep, push the pass on the button. Yep, he's on the button. There you see the green border around his pie readout there on the center of his dash. On the inside, he's going to have the...
Oh, got there! And they're both off! Miranda is off and Francesca is off! Francesca spins it, trying to gather it up there. Miranda chase across the grass, but that is a big gain for Jake Katz now, up to P9.
And we're going to have some front wing damage probably added to Miranda. So insult to injury. Miranda's still in the top 10, but now he's falling under attack by Jeff Groff, who smells blood in the water.
Francesca on the pit road after that tangle. No doubt he's sensing damage on that number 96 machine. Brings it down the pit road. And this is within the fuel window, I should note. This is within the 16 laps we've seen people run. So if he comes in for a stop and gets a little bit of fix there, he can actually go all the way to the end on fuel right now.
All right. We're back up front. And the leaders, while we were watching that battle, Mitch Welker's pulled away from Caleb Benty and Nate Seifer. Nick Johnston, I think he pitted. Yes, he just pitted. So he is currently, he completed his last stop, moved back to fifth. He is on his first lap of this stint. So the window is wide open here to get to the end. And Johnston is one of the early takers of that. Notice him on the, well, I'm still showing him on the prime tire.
He's on the hards. He's on the hards. He started this race on the reds.
On the reds,
I think that may be the cause of the glitch. But Johnston just came off his final pit stop. He'll have hard compound tires all the way to the end. Very consistent tires they've been tonight. Johnston from here on out, 5th place, seems to be the lowest spot he'll be if he can minimize the errors. And now he's got Michael DeTurk in his crosshairs right now in 4th. Oh, and already Johnston off and around in NASCAR corner. He gets himself trying to get himself back up onto the track, and
he's going to lose a second spot.
I think I just gave him the commentator's curse yet again.
And those are just cold tires, right?
I don't know if that was cold tires because he had a lap already to win the
Okay,
month.
that's true. He did. So you're right. And now he's under attack from Gavin Sanders. So it's just human unforced errors have really shook this field up.
That seems to be a common trend we've seen tonight. And if I'm being brutally honest here, if there is a track on this schedule that can really bring out small, minor human errors, it's VIR. Belle Isle is up. It's up there with Belle Isle, in my opinion, in terms of
I
how
thought you were going to
much
say the Chicago Street Course. I was thinking the Chicago Street Course would be up there. Okay, we got a couple things we need to do here real quick. Here is the results from the last race. As you see, the Sunset Arctic sponsorship with the sunset in the back there. Of course, that race finished at night, and I was talking with their graphics person. I really said that graphic should be just a completely black background with just white text, and that would have been funny. And he ended up doing one just for me, and it still is funny, but I still should have said, like, whoever finished in like 6, like some car went by, heard, couldn't see, it's just as but that is the results here from Road Atlanta. Going into the point situation, and this is going to be critical because with the drop week included, Welker, he can clinch today by virtue of finishing where he currently is, or worse, at least the 2nd spot. He will clinch this championship up. Bruno Miranda actually is looking at probably losing some ground here to Gavin Sanders, who Gavin Sanders now is ahead of Bruno on the race course at the moment. Let's get into the team points really quick. Team Watson Racing by TWR, and that's going to be Seifert and Hill. They're currently 3rd and 5th, so going to be another good finish for them currently right now if they could finish currently at station. And that is the team championship. And the safest driver right now, well, who would have guessed it? Mitch Welker.
Yeah, no
actually,
doubt about that.
that's the rookie championship. Excuse me, the rookie championship. That's Mitch Welker by a mile. Of course, Howie is also with the championship overall. It should be no surprise that he is dominating the rookie championship as well. So that is the rookie championship. So let's get those important graphics out of the way. Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching RaceVerse coverage of Round 10 of the Formula Indy Series coming to you from VIR, where Mitch Welker is driven from the front, or from the back to the front, and currently leads here with about 10 laps to go here. Show your support of RaceVerse. Become a member of our Patreon page today. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and you'll miss out on the next race. Tonight's race sponsorship, we haven't talked about them. We want to thank them again for being a part of the series. Midwest Kidney Warriors. Midwest Kidney Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates life for those battling kidney disease. We have several kidney warriors needing a life-saving transplant, and many require a living donor. For more information, please visit their website at MidwestKidneyWarriors.com or stop by their group page on Facebook today.
Battle on, Seifker and Bensi. Seifker got around Caleb Bensi. They're very close stuff. They're almost contact once or twice. But Bensi locking up there. He actually has to yield the position to Nate Seifker up to P2. And now Bensi coming on the pit
for
road.
His last stop of the day.
Bensi was running on the soft tire. I think he may switch to blacks for the end of this one. Seifker still going around on the hard compound tire. We'll see what he puts on. Bensi staying with the reds on this one. So the final 10 laps of this race for Caleb Bensi will be run on softs. And I think he may have the idea that he can build up the gap. He can build and turn some really fast laps and get the jump on Seifker before he has to come in for his last stop. See
a broadcasting note here on November 19th. The Indy Open Saturday Strength of Field broadcast that normally we would have here will be in conflict with the Open Wheels 500. So in an effort to remove as many conflicts as possible in the iRacing IndyCar community, RaceVerse is looking to reschedule our Indy Open Strength of Field broadcast for that weekend. Options are to move the broadcast to Friday or push the broadcast back a couple hours to later in the day on Saturday. We're currently discussing this options and other options with several participants right now on our RaceVerse Discord server. If you have some feedback you'd like to offer, please join the discussion. An invite link can be found in the broadcast description. Join the discussion. Thanks. And now back into the action here as 10 laps to go. Now 9 laps to go.
Welker, last time by, had an 8.7 second lead. Here comes Nate Siefker onto pit road now. Last stop of the night for the 2 machine. Welker still staying out. He has one more stop to do. He'll probably be coming in the next few laps or so. But Siefker up on the jacks. He's changing over to Reds. Down and away he goes. Bensi down the front straightaway now. Siefker getting himself up to speed. Here comes Bensi. He's going to shoot around the outside. No, he doesn't.
Ooh.
Still side by side into turn 1.
Contact.
Siefker trying to get the jump. Contact there between the two. They both keep going. Bensi gets the clear on him.
A little bump. That is the IndyCar definition of a love a tap there.
Pretty much, yes. Bensi using all the momentum he had, the fresh rubber. It's a great advantage right now. Siefker still trying to get those tires up to temp. But Bensi pulling out the gap right now. We'll see if Siefker can close up as this run goes. Nick Johnston, meanwhile, still sitting in P4.
You could show your long-term support of RaceVerse and become one of our Patreon members today. For a little $1 a month, you can help support the channel now and into the future. There are 3 tiers to choose from. Perks include seeing your name at the end of every broadcast as part of our closing credits and special designation on our Discord server. As a Patreon membership grows, we'll continue to introduce other perks, maybe merch. We'll think about it. So stay tuned. Join today. Head on over to patreon.com/RaceVerse or click the link in the broadcast description today to pick your tier. Don't delay.
And look at this battle, meanwhile, for P4 right now. I'm seeing Johnston, Hill, and Sanders all running very close to each other. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th on the racetrack. Johnston leading the train there, but Sanders especially making up a lot of effort for his early off there. Early on in the race, he, of course, started on pole. Running a bit quicker than Christopher Hill right now. Can he get around him and back into a top 5?
Sanders on tires that are 5 laps better than Hill at the moment. Which might as well be 500 miles better at this point.
Yeah, and it really shows just how much of a difference fresh rubber can make, even with 5 laps. But this is 5 laps on a track that's about 3.3 miles long and has a lot of undulation to it. So it's pretty big as racetracks go.
Siefker got around Caleb.
And yeah, I'm looking at the battle. Siefker did indeed get around Caleb Bensi.
But Caleb must have had an issue or something, because next thing I saw him, I'm pushed to pass and get the camera there. The pass was completed.
Yeah. Oh, I think I saw what happened there. Oak Tree Corner claimed another victim there. Bensi just locked up big time, overshot the right-hander, and that just opened the door very nicely for Siefker.
7 laps to go. Reset the top 10 for you. Mitch Welker is our leader. Nate Siefert currently on camera, P2. Caleb Bensi right behind him there in P3. Nick Johnston, P2 in the championship, P4 on the racetrack at the moment. Christopher Hill, he and his team are looking good for the team championship. Christopher Hill currently 5th. Gavin Sanders. Oh, we got a car back off in the back there. That's Logan Spath. He's sliding backwards.
Logan Spath off in turn 1. Gathers it up, though. No harm done, it would seem.
No harm done, yep. And that is Michael DeTurk in the plain white wrapper. Coming right behind him there, and DeTurk is in 7th. He's been in the top 10 all day long, very quietly. Jeff Groff worked his way up to 8th. He's up 4 spots. Matthew Short back a couple spots. He is down 4, but still in the top 10. And Bruno Miranda currently worked his way back up into the top 10.
Welker on pit road now for his last stop. Definitely going to be putting on the soft tire for the end of this race.
Now, will Seifert get around him?
This will be the big question mark. Has Seifert done enough? Welker's up on the jacks. Down he goes.
No.
Back on the throttle and
No.
back off of pit road. And no, Seifert's just
not even going to be close. Not even going to be close. And that's just a short fill with 6 laps to go. That's how much short filling saves you on the racetrack.
Yeah, of course. A lot of times if you're short filling, the tires will be the biggest determining factor for pit stops. But if you're full tanking it, it's going to be fuels. But, of course, Welker doesn't need a full tank of fuel from here on out. We only got a few more laps to run, and Welker going to be going for that Red Bull lap, as you love to say.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people, if you're watching racing and you're watching IndyCar racing, you're not really understanding why didn't he go with a full tank. You don't need a full tank to get to the finish. You need just enough to get to the finish. And I'm sure with Welker and his human spotter, they calculated exactly what he needs to get to the finish, and maybe just a tick more just in case, so he can use push to pass, because push to pass will impact your fuel mileage. And you just put in just enough and it gets you there. If your stop is longer than 5 seconds anyways with fuel, which that's probably what he had anyways, you can change your tires inside of 5 seconds. So if any time that you have a stop that's going to be 5 seconds worth of fuel or more, you might as well change the tires. At the end of the race, you'll see the splash and go. It's not worth it to change the tires there. But he was on pit road in the box for 7.3, so obviously he had enough time to get the fuel he needed and new tires on in that time frame.
Well, there's also the consideration, too, that with Welker running the whole race up to this point on blacks, he had to change onto the reds for meeting the rules. And, of course, by the end of that run, the tires are usually not feeling their best anyway, so it'd be good to swap on the new rubber, because the benefit of new rubber will easily make up for the time that you lost on pit road for a slightly slower pit stop, I would think. But Welker really showing that now. We'll see what he can pull lap time-wise.
I think the
gap about 7.7 seconds at the line.
The purple lap right now is Nate Seifert with a 1:29.9.
See if Welker can match that high water mark. But speaking of Seifert, he and Benzi are still fairly close together. Seifert, the quicker of the two last time by. Back down the hill and up the hill once again for Oak Tree. Very tricky exit. Tricky to get the power down there. And Benzi doing everything in his power to stay in the draft of that number 2 machine and make up the gap on the straightaway.
Christopher Hill currently on push to pass. He's just by himself. Might as well, if you got him, smoke him.
Yeah, I mean, may as well make up time where you can. And if you got the means to use push to pass, there's no reason not to.
Push to pass. And you got the interesting thing with IndyCars is you do not have a cooldown period with the number of times you can use push to pass. You can use push to pass down one straightaway, brake, downshift, go around a hairpin, and then out of the hairpin, if there's another long straightaway attached to that, use push to pass again. And that's exactly in the scenario they're using here at VIR from 6 down through 7, 8, 9, 10. You can kind of take that really without lifting too much, and you can use push to pass there. And then, of course, on the exit to 12, you can use push to pass again. So you can use them in 2 in a row, bang, bang. Other series, for instance, when we had our Brazilian stock car series here, there's a cooldown period where you can't use it for a specified period of time. Here, IndyCar, you can use it one after another, provided you still have clicks left.
Yeah, and there it really emphasizes that it shows different strategies you can do for that. If you want to go for one full lap, you spam push to pass. If you want to actually save it for the end and have a good battle at the end of the race when you think you're going to be fighting with a guy, you save it. And by the way, Mitch Welker, I think he's got the fastest lap of the race now. 129.118.
Yeah, not even close to. That just demolished the Seifgert's lap by 8 tenths. It was just that huge.
Oh, Bensie's off in the final corner there. I was about to actually just bring him up.
Oh, and he goes through the DRS sign.
Goes right through the DRS sign. Of course, it's just ghosting right through that. And, of course, these cars don't have DRS, so what does it matter to them? Of course, the iRacing Grand Prix Series tends to race at VIR every so often, so that's why that's there. But Caleb Bensie now falls back into the clutches of Nick Johnston. Johnston wants to get himself up on that podium, and we have 3 laps to go. 3 laps for him to do it. And I was going to say, with comparing Welker right now to Bensie and Seifger, Welker was a full 2 seconds faster than Seifger and Bensie on the previous laps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those graphics that are just on the side there. Normally, if that was real racing, he would probably have to stop because he would have a DRS cardboard or styrofoam sign on front of his wings, and that would seriously really damage the car's aero.
Yeah, ask Pierre Gasly how that feels. Yeah,
just like we saw at Suzuka. I know I saw that scene as well. They had a monster rain shower that they had to not a rain shower, storm, deluge that they had to fight through early on in that race.
Indeed, they did, and it was another rainy Japanese Grand Prix that they had to deal with there, and that led to a sign being stuck on the front of Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri, and kind of a similar thing would happen here in the virtual world, but they don't have hit detection for that. For those billboards there and for some of the boards here at this track, but they have them for the cones, of course. And I mean, if Matt Malone was here with his Twitch stream, he probably would have knocked over a few of them right now.
It's like Mad Mike, the spotter for Mitch Welker, has done the virtual fist pump with the purple lap.
He should be very proud of his driver here tonight. This has been a champion's drive by Mitch Welker. A lap and a half to go here at VIR, but I'm looking at this battle for third. Nick Johnston harrying Caleb Bensie. Johnston was definitely faster on that last lap. He himself's got a lap and a half to get the job done and get himself up onto the podium. It won't be enough to keep him in the championship hunt at this stage. Mitch Welker, of course, leading the race. That'll cement him as the series champion. But Johnston Bensie again locked up in 03 on the throttle.
Push to pass both of them.
Both of them on the button. Bensie defending. Johnston attacking side by side down the back straightaway. They'll be hitting 180 miles an hour as they do so. 182 onto the brakes. Nick Johnston back up to P2 he goes. But Mitch Welker taking the white flag.
P3.
1 to go.
That'll be P3 for Johnson. Seifgert's still P2. But it's going to solidify P2 in the standings for him, that's for sure. And then in the championship standings, yeah.
Yeah, Johnston may not have scored race wins this season, but he has been Mr. Consistency in his own right. And that has gotten him second place in the points, and this will keep him there right now if he holds on for another 3/4 of a lap. But the gap right now between Welker and Seifger, 14 seconds. Amazing drive from dead last to a dominant lead. Mitch Welker, this is why he is the series champion. This is why he will be the series champion if he keeps it going for another half a lap down the backstretch one more time. Meanwhile, as I'm seeing Johnston and Bensie still trying to hunt down Johnston as they come through the final corners, as they come through Oak Tree for the last time. Bensie trying to stay in the slipstream. Johnston trying to throw him out. But Welker through the final corner. Down the front stretch we go. Welker wins the race, and he is the Formula Indy Series champion. Mitch Welker gets the championship that he no doubt deserved. Beautiful drive, and what a way to win it.
And on top of that, let's watch the rest of the finishes here. Here comes Seifert. He is going to get that P2. Johnston going to hold off Bency and get that P3. Bency down to P4. Gavin Sanders recovers. He is going to come home P5. The Turk in the plain white wrapper, a little bit behind. We'll watch him finish his lap. Here he comes. A good solid day's run for him. Bringing home 6th. Christopher Hill now rounding the final bend, going to get himself and his team a good finish. They finished 7th and 2nd respectively, so the team championship looking pretty good for this squad. Matthew Short right behind him. Coming home 8th, Jeff Groff. Coming through the last series of corners here. And he is looking at a top 10 finish for himself here at VIR.
Jake Katz will round out the top 10 through the final corner.
And here comes Jake Katz, up 11 spots. Up 11 spots for Katz here. Great day for him. Minimized mistakes and worked his way up into a very solid top 10 finish. Should be proud of that. But now let's go back up to the front and check out Mitch Welker as they're doing the victory and cool down lap. Mitch, also on top of that now, is the career wins leader here in the FIS in a single season. He has done this in a single season. He is a career wins leader here in the FIS. Formerly, that was held by Gavin Sanders for, well, pretty much since the start of the series when it started now, what, 3 or 4 seasons ago. And Mitch Welker now has 7 wins. To Gavin Sanders, 6 wins, and it puts him number 1 in the charts historically. Oh, what's this? Oof. Yeah, guys don't do that. But anyways, it puts him number 1 now in the wins column, not only in the championship, but for the historical wins here in the FIS. So let's clear off the graphics, and then let's take a look at the final classifications for today. Your winner and now series champion, Mitch Welker, finishes first. Nate Seifert, the second step on the podium. Nick Johnston, he's going to keep it a good handle on P2 in the series championship. Now it's going to see, we got 2 races to go to see who will finish best in class, so to speak. And Nick is currently leading that battle. Caleb Bency, Gavin Sanders, P4 and 5. Michael DeTurk 6th, Christopher Hill 7th, Matthew Short 8th, Groff 9th, and Katz 10th. Remainder of your top 15, Jasper DeMade, Wang, Spath, and Aldrich making up the top 15 there. We had a good showing today, 25 cars. Bruno Miranda down to 16th with that incident with Frankie Francica. I'm sure that'll be reviewed by the stewards, I'm sure. Francica is 17th. Tucker, Patahir, Digby, your top 20. White, Houston, Piazza, Ricciuti, and Claiborne rounding out your top 25.
We're seeing Seifker and Johnston so far up in the waiting room. I'm sure Mitch Welker is to follow.
Well, we'll let Mitch celebrate. He has earned it. He can take all the time he needs. Yeah. As we get into race interviews here, we'll bring up 3rd place Nick Johnston. Hey, Nick, we got you here in the booth. It was actually kind of looking like a little bit of a repeat of the last time we were here, but things changed and a lot of unforced errors out there. What was the situation on the racetrack? Was just treacherous, not a lot of grip, or what?
It just seems like VR is one of those classic racetracks where it doesn't allow you to make mistakes. That's what makes this place great. You mess up and you're going to pay for it. Mm-hmm. We saw that with a lot of drivers tonight, including myself. I knew I was in a very critical point in my stint if I wanted to try to win this race, and I carried a little bit too much track into NASCAR and dipped the right rear off and lost looks like about 9 seconds right there. So I don't know if I would have had the pace to mess with Mitch. I mean, he's been super fast all night, super fast all year. Dude's an alien, but I think he definitely would have been on second. So it was all in all good night. Qualified 8th, so to get up on the podium at the end's a good night.
Yeah, overall fantastic drive to the field there, and we were kind of thinking that you would have a chance to win it and getting up there to the front of the field, but it seemed like you went kind of opposite on tire strategy compared to pretty much everyone else in the field. You started on reds, whereas a lot of them started on blacks. You think that may have had something to do with not exactly being able to hold on later on in the going?
Well, it definitely helped me out there in the very end when Caleb went off and it got me right behind him, because the Reds only lasted maybe 10 laps at the most, and they started feeling bad around lap 6 or 7. So starting eighth, I wanted to be on the Reds because I didn't want to have to deal with any warm up. I wanted a good launch, and I wanted to gain as many spots as I can early on because this track's not the easiest to pass at. And luckily, I got a pretty good start, and some things happened around me. And I was able to fall into a pretty decent spot. And when I started to notice the Reds fall off, I just went ahead. I could still make it. It was 30 laps to go, so 15 lap stints from there, I could have made it. So I went ahead and came in on the blacks, and I think it would have been okay. It might have been a race with a couple of those guys there, because the Reds obviously would have been much faster initially when I was like mid stint on my blacks, but I think I would have started coming back towards them at the end. So you never know. We'll never know since I decided to drive it off the track.
Well, at least you recovered, and you drove a good recovery. And the important part is that you brought it home on the podium, and you still are maintaining that critical P2 spot in the series championship, which I guess is going to be called best in class now, still with 2 weeks left or 2 races left to go. Your thoughts about hanging on to P2 and the last 2 races on the series championship at Daytona and Indianapolis to wrap it up?
Yeah, congrats to Mitch on the championship. Like I said earlier, he's been crazy fast all year, and he's definitely making a lot of us elevate our game to try to keep up. There's still things I don't quite understand that I'm trying to figure out. A lot of it's under braking. So just if I could, get a little bit more, we'll be able to compete with him next season. And I don't know. At this point, I'm just trying to win some races. I think this might be I haven't won a race yet this year, so I'd like to win a race this season. And Daytona is going to be an outlier. There should be a lot of draft there, and Indy's a fun track. So hopefully we can go to those 2 tracks, have some fun, and maybe come off with a win.
Shout outs.
First off, my beautiful girlfriend Danielle for watching. Thank you, baby. I know it's getting late for you, but appreciate you logging on and watching. All the SKO boys, if you guys are watching, I'll be on here just in a minute. Thank you guys. Of course, Gary and man, is it Stefan or Steven?
It's Steven.
Steven, thank you guys for broadcasting and do what you guys do so people can watch and enjoy this. It definitely adds a lot to the league to be able to kind of show people and let people watch and see what we do. Of course, the Formula Indy Series and all the admin crew for their work to put the series on, give us a place to race. And the TWR Racing, a lot of good finishes tonight. I know my teammate, actually in this series, since we have 2-man teams, Matt, had an amazing qualifying session. It looked like he was going to have a good race, and still ended up with a good finish, but got wrecked out lap 1. So a lot of adversity shown by him, and I'm proud of him for his efforts. And I think we might be able to get the team championship this year, so that would be good.
All right, well, there you have it. Unfortunately, the war is over, but we got a couple post-war battles still to go and to secure that P2 in the championship, and you were in a prime spot to do that. So congratulations on tonight, and enjoy the week off, and we will see you at Daytona.
You guys have a great night.
You too. Let's bring down Nate.
I think it would have been.
There he is. Hey, Nate, we got you in here. Don't say anything you shouldn't be saying.
I wasn't.
Okay. That son of a. Oh, hey, I'm on the air. Okay, all right. Hey, Nate, congratulations on the P2. Hard racing all the way around. It almost looked like some of the conditions out there were treacherous. But we're just kind of talking with Nick about it, and he says it's just that seems to be the nature of the beast here at VIR. So tell us about wrangling this beast and bringing home a P2.
Yeah, I sucked tonight. That was not fun from my standpoint. I felt like that wasn't my greatest performance pace-wise. Definitely with a 5th place pace, I thought, instead of a P2. But we'll take it. We stayed on the track. We stayed on the black stuff for the most part. Thankfully, I had a couple skirts through off an exit curb, a
Mhm.
little too hard. But
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, it wasn't too terrible. Just a bunch of people going off around me. I think Gavin went off at like lap 3, whatever. Caleb went off twice around me. I think Nick had an off. So just a bunch of people having mistakes around me. So that's kind of why I ended up where I was. But the pace wasn't there. I had nothing for Mitch, for sure. I think the pace was a P5 pace. I think Caleb probably could have been pace-wise quicker than me. Nick was quick-wise pacer than me. Gavin, pace-wise, was quicker than me. So we'll take it. P2 is cool. We'll go with that.
Well, you still got a shot for at least, I would say, I think P3 is still open for business for you if you can get these next 2 races under your belt. Before I toss it over to Stephen for his question, what is your outlook on these next 2 races now with kind of the championship already decided? It's almost like it's a scenario that would be perfect for the Raiders' old owner and just win, baby.
Well, yeah. Just win, baby, would be fantastic if we had pace to win. We don't have the pace to win, so we'll just go get on the podium. I think that's kind of what we have to do. Daytona. Who knows? That's going to be, even if Mitch is the leader, it's just going to be a train behind him because the draft and Indy, the new scan, I'm not very good at. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, there's some pace to be had. Who knows? Maybe we can get a road course win this season out of it.
Stephen?
Yeah, and you were saying about how you weren't feeling all that confident for wins there, and a lot of things that you could learn as well. I think Nick Johnston also kind of had similar sentiments as well. Of course, Mitch Welker's performance this season has kind of raised the bar for a lot of them. What do you see as being an area where you think you can improve to try and step up your game on that one?
I think there's some work to be had. I mean, really, it's just a lot of he does really well in every phase of the race. His qualified pace is just a little bit quicker than everybody else. His race pace on the blacks, he doesn't have fall off on any tire really, and that's something I think in the off season, and I think it'll help anybody who wants to improve. It's kind of just analyze. He is the bar. He is the gold standard at the moment. I think a lot of analyzing will be done to see what he is doing to help the tire. Because that seems like it's the main area that he is really good at is the tires. I think the pace-wise, Q pace, he nails that one lap. And I think everyone around in the league, Gavin tonight was the exception, but he does really well putting together a good lap every session. Everyone else is, missing something a little bit. So that's something he does really well at. He deserves his championship absolutely wholeheartedly. Keeping the train of rookies becoming the champion. So good job on that, Mitch. He'll get that C badge in Discord here. He needs to wait a couple weeks. I'm gonna not allow him to have that badge until the season's over. But he can keep that R for now.
Go ahead and shout outs.
I want to thank you guys, of course, for being in the booth. Thank you, all the admin staff here at the FIS. A great group of people, great group of guys to race with. I want to thank the team at TWR, great group of people to be with. Nick had a great night as well. Matt qualified excellent. Shame that he got taken out T1. I think that was going to be he had some pace tonight, so I'm really disappointed that happened on his behalf, and just everybody else had it seemed like a decent night for the most part. And then, of course, I want to thank my main sponsor, the Midwest Kidney Warriors, for all the support towards me. They advocate to finding living donors for those currently needing a life-saving transplant, and also mentor those currently on dialysis. So their website, of course, is the MidwestKidneyWarriors.com. Great organization. I'd strongly recommend if you're even thinking about it, check them out.
Nate Secret, P2, congratulations. That is your 16th top 5 finish here in FIS histories. So
how many starts do I have?
You have 27 starts, and 16 of them have been top 5s. So
that's a decent conversion rate.
Yeah, it is. Not too bad. not too bad. So congratulations, and enjoy the
We
week
got to work
off.
on that win conversion rate. That's the conversion rate. That
Right,
matters.
there you go. Only 11% of your races, you have 11% win percentage. So you got to work on
Mitch
that.
is at what, 70? Yeah, I need to work on that.
Mitch is at that's 75. I think is what
That's close.
yeah. Now it's actually more than that now because I don't think Sim Racer Hub has been updated. But historical, you are 3 wins, 15 top 5 or 16 top 5, 22 top 10s.
Tonight or?
That will include tonight. I'm adding one more number to that.
Oh, okay.
So congratulations, and we will see you in a week. We got an off week, so take it off, enjoy, and we'll see you at Daytona.
All right, thank you guys.
All right. And now we bring down the champ. And very much Michael Schumacher type domination of the season. He could take the next 2 races off and not lose a thing. Mitch Welker, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the championship. And also in that, Rookie of the Year. You also now are the career wins leader in the FIS series with 7. So I can't really top that intro much more other than congratulations. I'd let you tell us about the race, but gosh, you won the championship. So normally I just let the champ just kind of talk about anything they want at this point, considering we still got 2 races left, though. So first of all, congratulations. Tell us about a race, and are we going to even see you at the next 2, or are you still going to show up?
I think I'll show up still.
Okay, all right, good.
Yeah. I was informed by Matt Huston that I also am the first FIS driver to have ever won from a pit start. So there's that accolade too.
That is actually true. That is, Houston, that's first one to start from the pits. Yep. You actually, I think, came the closest to doing it before at Spa, I believe. Gavin Sanders might have done a good run as well, but I believe that you also came close when you did that start from the pits at Spa.
Yeah, 3rd place wasn't too bad, but I was way behind Echevarria for that one. So a lot more cars to work through at that one as well. And also this pit start was not too bad. It let me out into the pack around 20th, 15th-ish. We had a lot of stoppages in the middle of the first sector, but
yeah, that's what I was saying to in the pre-race to Steven, is that you're the only one who would be starting from the pits. There'll be no one in front of you, and you should be coming out to a empty racetrack. Now, what I did not take into consideration is that you did qualify, I think, 2nd, so that gave you the 2nd pit stall. So when even given the 5-second countdown penalty to the starter, what, a 10-second countdown, 5-second countdown to penalty start, you would be actually coming out there in the last third of the field. So that everything seemed to kind of work in your favor.
it did. And I'm really glad for that. I'm really glad we did our homework, as we should have done more of at Road Atlanta, and we ran the strat, pretty safe strat. We felt we had a good race pace, and we did. So we just ran the safe thing, black, red, run the reds at the end with the cooler track, and we could underfuel the car then as well. So ended up being the quickest way through. Kept the car on track. There was a lot of mistakes tonight from other drivers that may or may not have helped us in some places, but you take those. You're the one staying on track. So really, that's all I can say. Just another textbook night, epic night. Thanks again to Mike for this whole season. Been such a key factor in a lot of these results. So
Like we lost audio.
It ain't broke, don't fix it so far.
Are we all still there?
Yep.
All right. It looks like we momentarily had a I was looking at the feed, and the feed did not drop. So pardon that. Most of what you said, everyone missed there, Mitch. But I tell you what, if you're still here, we're going to have you back, probably more than likely, with other podium finishes. But we always, in the last race of the year, give the champion lots of time to talk about anything really they want. But while we have you here, and before we have another brown out, any shout outs you have to your team, to your spotter, to your family, to your sponsors, anything like that, just go ahead and get it all out, because man, you are the champ. And going into next season, when that schedule comes out, and I think it's going to come out here rather soon, you will be wearing the number 1.
Yes. So just running over what we missed there earlier, basically just saying no need to make a philosophical change for next season. We're going to keep improving as we keep learning, as everybody else does. So I don't see why to change anything if it's not broken. So, but in the shout outs, first and foremost, Mike Hurley on the box, the rest of All-American iRacers, but specifically Mike, every single night that we've been here, has been on the box, doing the hard work, doing the math, and making sure I get results out of these things. So he's been a really key part of this. The sponsors, LW, Haugen, Lazy Rocket, and Open Mess and Foundation have been in the car the whole season, or for most of the season, besides tonight. So big thanks to those partners there, helping me stay on track in various external ways. Shout out to FIS for help.
We'll let you have the mic again after the finale at Indianapolis, but congratulations. And I seriously think Mad Mike here can probably put on a symposium on how to be a good spotter and engineer. In fact, I might want to pick his brain some, because I like to do a fair degree of engineering and spotting myself. And man, he really, really knows how to bring out the best in you and in these races. So congrats to him. Of course, he's part of that, and I'm sure that whenever you win, he's just as happy. So congrats to him on the championship, you on the championship, and we will see you with a week off at Daytona next.
All right. I will add, Mike will be getting a cut on my winnings. That's how much he means to me.
Attaboy. That is an awesome driver combination boss. There you go. Very fair. Congratulations to him, though, for getting some winnings on this.
For sure. Thank you, Mike.
We will see you in 2 weeks at Daytona.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
And that is our series champion for this season, Mitch Welker, with 2 races to go. And like I said, in kind of Schumacher dominance form, kind of reminds me of, what is that 2004 Formula One season where Schumacher won all but just a handful of races and had the championship clinched by 2 to 3 to go or something like that. Very much reminiscent of that. But it sounds like, much like how that season did to Formula One history, where it caused a lot of the factories and drivers to pick up their effort and their pace in order to keep up with Michael. I think a lot of these drivers here are going to be trying extra hard here, certainly in the next 2 weeks, but in the off season and into the next season, to definitely find a way to keep up and pass, not just keep up with, but pass Mitch Welker.
There's no doubt about that. Welker has definitely set the bar in really high for everyone. He came into the season guns blazing, and he is not let up, and he has just done fantastic all season long. And this is really showing how strong the competition is going forward for the Formula Indy Series. And I have no doubt every single one of the top runners so far, they are going to be looking at Mitch Welker and trying to pick apart what he has done and try and have an answer for him in the not just next season, but also I'd say in the coming races as well. Daytona Road Course is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It may not matter for the championship, but it's going to be the place to watch. I guess you could say the start of plans for next season start to develop in some ways. So I think next season and the next few races in particular, we are going to have a lot of fun to see how everyone else will respond to this season's juggernaut that is Mitch Welker.
Well, in many ways, looks like next season starts now. So that's
in some ways, yeah.
So that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium for the Virginia is for Kidney Warriors Grand Prix from VIR. Mitch Welker gets the win and wins and secures the championship for the Formula Indy Series for this season. Nate Seifert finishes second, and Nick Johnson, maintaining his spot P2 in the championship, finishes third. Join Steven and myself in 2 weeks as we head to. See anything running that's causing anything?
I hear you.
No, now
right
we're back. Now we're back. So let's do this again. Start time about 9 p.m. Eastern time. Ring the bell, mark your calendars. Now that's next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube.com/RaceVerse. And we are at Daytona International Speedway for round 11. So now, as you know, their YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support RaceVerse with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know the thoughts tonight's race, minus all of the Cylon moments. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video, just like this. If you're new, click subscribe or while at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out more RaceVerse's iRacing programming, including the Monday Night Indy Fix Series and the Indy Open Saturday Strength of Field races on Saturday. And also, programming note for this week, also join us on NRN, that's the National Racing Network, Wednesday and Thursday night of this week, as we'll be covering the SRA's Next Gen Cup race. Yes, I will be covering a Cup race at Bristol. I'll be doing that with Justin. That's tomorrow night. And then Thursday, we'll be doing a bit of a double header for NRN. We'll be covering their ESRA IndyCar League race at Charlotte, and I'll be joined by the man who gave birth to the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split broadcast, Andrew Wood. And then we'll be doing after that, we'll be doing the Indy Pro official 2K, the Indy Pro 2K official race. So that will be a iRacing official race. And I'll be joined by the man who loves the bright paints himself, James Watson, Team Watson Racing. He'll be the man in the booth. And we will be at Homestead on their Roval there to do that broadcast. That's all this week. So that's all this week on NRN. You can find their channel at youtube.com/National Racing Network. Keep your browser set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge on all of iRacing. RaceVerse, we know what Indy means. Virginia is for Kidney Warriors Grand Prix sponsorship paid for by Midwest Kidney Warriors. Midwest Kidney Warriors is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that advocates life for those battling kidney disease. We have several Kidney Warriors needing a life-saving transplant, and many require a living donor. For more information, please visit their website at MidwestKidneyWarriors.com or stop by their group page on Facebook today. For business inquiries to learn more about RaceVerse and what we do, visit RaceVerse.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Here's all of our Twitter handles right here at the bottom of the screen. So for Stephen Markamp, everyone at RaceVerse, I'm Gary Gopson saying, thanks for watching, and to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again in 2 weeks at Daytona for the next race of the RaceVerse Formula Indy Series. Good night.